Pamela Geller, of course, the leader of this group that is targeting Muslims, and they are the ones that did the Muhammad cartoons down in Texas, and then they got shot at, which is, of course, horrific. But it doesn't make their group any better, obviously, because the shooting is independent of what you think of their group. Now, she's going to go on Fox News and actually get a tough interview from Martha McCullum. This ought to be interesting. Let's watch.
Let's play that.
When you embolden people, when you empower people, the haters, you're going to get violence. And so why would anybody who's morally responsible want to intentionally incite other people? We live in a sick society that some people think it's good to taunt other people.
I watched Pam prior, and it looks like she's just taunting everybody. What is she doing with drawing Muhammad? And it looks like she's actually taunting people. And it's disgusting that it happened and everything else, but why are they drawing Muhammad? Isn't there something else they could draw?
What do you say?
Well, it's Mr. Donahue who's emboldening them by giving them the sanction of the victim. And as far as Mr. Trump goes, he sure flaps his tongue and uses free speech and wishes to silence others. There's a war going on. I mean, what would he have said about Rosa Parks? Rosa Parks should never have gone to the front of the bus. She's taunting people.
No.
Yes.
How do you make the Rosa Parks comparison?
Okay, so let's take this one thing at a time. First of all, let us never speak of Donald Trump flapping his tongue again. Okay, I don't want to know that thing he does with his tongue. All right, point number 2. Whoa, Nelly, you are no Rosa Parks. So Rosa Parks fought for equality. She didn't want separate treatment. She wanted the same treatment. Pamela Geller is fighting for different treatment of Muslims. She says they're not the same as us. They are intrinsically evil. There are no moderate Muslims. We ought to discriminate against Muslims. She finds that to be rational discrimination. She's the opposite of Rosa Parks. She wants the Muslims in the back of the bus, or preferably not on the bus at all, unless they're under the bus. That doesn't make you Rosa Parks. And then, third of all, I'm going to now flip around and make it what I view to be an important distinction, which is I don't agree with Donald Trump and Bill Donahue there. So Pamela Geller is way out of bounds when she compares herself to Rosa Parks. But I do think, look, she runs a hate group that's well established. The other Southern Poverty Law Center, Anti-Defamation League agree, right? So, but I think she's within her rights to do that. And so I don't want to limit her because I'm afraid of the limits that would then extend to other groups that are actually trying to make legitimate political dialogue, conversation, debate, etc. So I don't like this idea of, well, it almost seems like they're saying they had it coming because they're taunting the Muslims. No, they don't have it coming. They can taunt Muslims all day long. It's a free country. They have every right to do that. So I don't agree with the way that they do it, and I don't agree with their overall philosophy, but I will defend it. And so I don't like this idea of saying they're doing it in the wrong way. They shouldn't have provoked that attack. They didn't. No, we live in a country where we have to defend our speech. Nobody has a right to attack us. So it's a weird thing where the Trumps and the Bill Donahues of the world are getting me to defend Pamela Geller and making her the victim here. And it's the same reason I'm angry at them is the same reason I'm angry at the two Muslim radicals who actually did the shooting. Now, obviously, what they do is far worse because it's violent. But don't make her into the victim. Let her speak. When she speaks, she makes an ass out of herself, as she just did, and she's about to do more of that. That's fine. And then the marketplace of ideas will figure out who's right and who's wrong. But don't try to shut her down or say, oh, her speech is provoking violence. I think that's totally out of bounds to say something like that. No speech should provoke violence. All right, here, one more from Pamela Geller.
They're saying that if you want to make a difference, you don't do it. You do it Bill Donahue's saying in a Christian way. You don't do it in a crass, crude way by insulting someone's religion. You do it by rising above that and saying, we are not like you.
I will not abridge my freedom so as not to offend savages.
I think they're saying that that's not how we do things here. We don't believe in that. We want to rise above. We want to be a cut above that kind of barbaric behavior. This is a very different way of going about achieving the goal, which is to put an end to Islamic extremism.
Based on what you're saying, the Christians in the Middle East should all convert because they're insulting Islam.
Absolutely not.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely not.
Because
My God, absolutely
they're
not.
insulting Islam by remaining Christians and not converting. The winner of the cartoon contest is a former Muslim.
I know, I heard you say that.
She loves to point that out. Like, oh, no. I know Muslims. Really? Which Muslims do you know? Former Muslims. Well, it's not quite the same. Okay, now, to the overall point here, look, she's saying everything that it doesn't agree with Islam by definition offends Islam. No, wait a minute. The Christians in the Middle East don't go around calling their neighbors savages, partly because they live with them and they know, hey, that's, Ahmed down the street, and I know his kids and we get along. Now, from time to time, tensions will flare up. Shia and Sunni will fight. Sometimes, rarely these days, Christians and Muslims will fight, but it does happen. But for most of that time, they've been living together fine, and they're not like Pamela Geller. They have Muslim neighbors. They know actual Muslims. They know their kids, so they know that they're real human beings. They don't go around spitting in their eye. It would be a pretty bad idea in their situation anyway, but it's also because they're decent human beings, and they know Ahmed, and they don't want to go up to him and be like, you savage. Okay, only Pamela Geller does that because she's a bad person, and she wants to call Muslims, 1.6 billion of them, savages, okay? Now, again, I said this yesterday. You're saying that about the people who specifically attacked you. Boy, did they have it coming. You would be right to call them savages. But when you extend it to all other Muslims, it's preposterous. If every time there was a shooting in America, I called all Americans savages, all 330 million of them, it would be absurd, right? And there are plenty of shootings in America. Well, that's a classic mistake that she's making. So she's no Rosa Parks, but please don't turn her into some sort of heroic victim by saying she shouldn't say anything because that would provoke violence. No. You get to say anything you want in this country, and under no circumstances should that provoke violence or justify violence.